Hey guys, good afternoon. This is Coach Bill with Fat Loss Made Easy. Hope you guys are having a great Wednesday so far. So, today's topic is a topic that I see a lot of questions about this topic, and mainly in the different um, fat groups I'm into, intermittent fasting groups, or uh, the ketogenic groups, so forth. And it's basically the topic is common for questions that these people have on when they go to their doctors and they get either an annual blood test or semi-annual blood test, and they're doing the high good dietary fat low carb meal plan and also doing incorporating it with intermittent fasting. Then their cholesterol might be up some. And so they're concerned about it because their doctor wants to put them on cholesterol medication. Um, but I actually did a video, I don't know, maybe about a month ago, and it's if you go to my Fat Loss Made Easy Facebook group page, join it. The video will be in there. It's also in my YouTube channel. Just type in Bill Mabry, and the video will be there also, explaining that not all cholesterol is the same. And it also explains why doctors sometimes get confused. And I'm not a doctor, I'm not prescribing anything to you guys, but I do have enough education on how to read scientific case studies. And when I've been doing this for a lot of years, so we have a lot of experience under our belt. And so I have learned over the years by working very closely with a bioidentical hormone specialist who actually specializes in hormones and knows how to read these blood tests. And she knows all about cholesterol. She knows all about us, and knowing us that we are actually on a high fat dietary low carb meal plan. But most doctors who, if you were to go to your doctor and you got your blood test done, and your doctor knew you were on a high fat, low carb meal plan, and your cholesterol, your total cholesterol might be up a little, then he would most likely tell you that, it's not enough to even worry about. But the big thing is that most of these doctors who understand um, high fat, low carb meals knows the benefits of this 2,000-year-old diet. It's been around for that long. And what else do they know? They understand triglycerides. So that's what you've got to look at. When you're doing a high fat, low carb meal plan and you're incorporating it with intermittent fasting, especially if you're doing the longer fasting, then when you do your blood test, your total cholesterol might be a little higher than normal. And you need to understand that that is actually a normal reading. It will go up a little bit because you're eating higher fat, so there's more fat in your blood. But what you want to look at, if it's the wrong fat or too much of the wrong fat, is your triglyceride levels. That's what you're looking for. And so what I mean is that what is causing, if it's the triglyceride levels that are on your blood test and it shows high, then what is causing your triglyceride levels to go up? Well, that's another mistake I see people make when they're on a high fat, low carb diet, is actually how much fat should they be eating and what fats are they really eating. So what most likely is going to be causing your triglycerides to go above normal or healthy is most likely you're probably eating too much of the saturated fats. And so what you're going to have to do, if that's the case, is you're going to have to back off of the saturated fats. So when you're doing a high fat, low carb meal plan, and especially if you're incorporating it with intermittent fasting, It's not going to affect your ketone levels if you need to drop your fats down and raise your proteins up. You can do that. So instead of doing 60% fat, do 55% protein and do 45% fats coming from your calories. But make sure those are make sure those are the right healthy fats. The what you call the polyunsaturated fats and the monosaturated or saturated fats. Those are your good fats. Your saturated fats, what are they? Well, most likely you might be having too much red meat. Now, most of the people out there are not buying pasture-raised, grass-fed meats. So they're getting the high processed, chemically induced beef or meat. And that's the worst kind of meat. And a lot of people might be eating the fatty, the meat that has too much fat. You want to pick your leaner meats. You don't want to be able to see any of the fat swirls in your meat because that's the bad fat. So what you might have to do, you just might have to raise your protein up a little bit and lower your fats, but just make sure that you back off on the highly saturated meats and go to more of a lean chicken or do the ground turkey and fish, salmon especially. And so what are we talking about here, Bill? What saturated fats could be causing the issues? Well, you could be doing too much real butter. Now, Emily and I, we buy organic butter. Cheese also do. Lard, room temperature coconut oil, palm oil, all your processed foods, your cakes, your biscuits, your fatty cuts of meat, your sausages, bacon, cured meats. You're stored. If you go to a store and you buy sandwich meats, those are all highly saturated fats. We do organic cheeses, so cheese has saturated fat in it. All your pastries have tons of saturated fat, sausages, rolls, so forth. Ice cream, it has that. So you're going to have to back off on that. So you might be better off, like I said, dropping your fats down to 45% of your calories and then bump your protein up to 55% of your calories just until you get your triglycerides. But most of you guys need to, I think the mistake I'm seeing a lot of people do is they're doing more of the bad saturated fats than they are the good ones. And the good ones I'm talking about, guys, are your polyunsaturated fats and also your monosaturated fats. And what the polyunsaturated fats are your nuts, your macadamia nuts, your walnuts, your almonds, your pine nuts, your flax seeds, and your cinnamon and sunflower seeds, pumpkin seeds. And then we take a omega-3 supplement every single day. And so those are the ones you should be adding. For example, let me give you an example. So say you make yourself a chicken salad. Well, put a tablespoon of olive oil on it, or put a tablespoon of MCT oil. What we do is throughout the day is I alternate. I might put a tablespoon of a good source of olive oil in my protein drink in the morning, and then I'll put some MCT oil on my lunch meal, or I'll take a tablespoon of olive oil before my last meal of the day. That's what I'm adding. Avocados. You want to consume avocados. They're a great source of fat. Also, well, the problem is that when you're first starting out doing a high-fat, low-carb meal, you guys have been, you've been carboholics for quite a few years. So your body has been basically running off carbs as its primary fuel. You have never really dipped into your own fat store. So your body really does know how to metabolize fat. But when you're first starting out, this is one of the biggest mistakes I see beginners do, is they jump into a high-fat, low-carb meal plan, And what they're doing is they're actually doing too much fat, not just saturated fat, but the good fat too. And because your body is not used to burning fat, there's a hormone that is used to help metabolize fat. Well, because you've been a carboholic for so many years, that hormone has been dormant for a while, for a long while on most of you guys. And so all of a sudden you switch to a high-fat, low-carb meal plan, and you're doing, say, 65, 75% fat. Well, your body just is not able to metabolize all that fat, and all that fat can easily be turned right back into fat because that hormone is sitting dormant and it's not able to metabolize that fat yet. And this is what we teach people on our online personal coaching, my new training website. We educate people on how they should start off first. You got to start off easy by consuming certain fats and not consume the fats that will cause issues. Now, once you've been on a high-fat, low-carb meal plan for a while and your blood glucose readings and your ketone readings are pretty consistent and you're getting more and more fat adapted, it could take 90 days, it could take 120 days. Once you get fat adapted, guys, then the saturated fats that are in your, if you're doing a pasture-raised, grass-finished meats and stuff, what saturated fats are in there, your body's going to metabolize pretty quickly and use up as energy pretty dang fast when you become fat adapted. When you're first starting out, the first 90 days, that's critical. And that's when you got to really be careful on how much fat you're bringing in. And so that's why you need guidance to do that. So when you consume too much saturated fats, when you're not fat adapted, then that could easily cause your triglyceride levels to rise due to because you guys have been carboholics. Most of you guys also, like I said, you really need to switch over to grass-fed, pasture-raised, grass-finished meats. Butcher Box is who we get ours through. Pasture-raised eggs. You need to get back. You need to switch over to all these pasture-raised butter, all this stuff, because the body will metabolize those much, much faster. Okay, so remember what I said about the fat. This hormone that is designed to metabolize fat. It's been dormant for a while, so you're going to have to give it a chance to come out of dormant and slowly work into increasing your good fats as you go. And as this hormone gets secreted, then your triglycerides are going to start to drop. But the main thing is when you're doing your blood panel and you're not using a bioidentical hormone specialist, then you got to rely on the education of your doctor on how to read that. And so what you might have to do is when you get this blood test back, if your total LDL is up and you are on the high-fat, low-carb meal plan, then look at where your triglycerides are. If your triglycerides are at a healthy level, then don't worry about it. Don't worry about your LDL going up a little bit. Remember, like in the first video I did about this, I explained the difference between the two different LDLs, and so you might want to go back and listen to that video. But if your triglycerides are normal and they're in the healthy range, then you don't need to worry about it. Another thing is, coming to the conclusion of this video, there is no reason why, like I said, I said this once before, there's no reason why you cannot lower your fats and go a little higher in good grass-fed or pasture-raised, grass-finished meats, You want to do wild caught salmon, stuff like that. And just lower your fats a little bit, just for a while. It won't have any effect on your fat burning. It won't have any effect on your ketones because it'll show up. It'll show you on your blood glucose readings, in your ketone readings, that you're going to actually be in ketosis still, and you're still going to be burning fat. So it's really not going to adjust that. You just want to get those, if you have that triglyceride issue, you just want to drop that triglyceride down to a healthy level. Now, let me give you an example of what happened to me. So I just recently did a blood test back in, 2 months ago. And Emily and I both, we go to a bioidentical hormone specialist because she's a specialist in hormones. She knows how to read them. We've been working very close with her for almost a little over 8 years now, I think. But anyway, so I went ahead and got my blood test done. And my total LDL has always been in a healthy level. Matter of fact, it's been low. And so this time, I got my blood test back, and on my blood test, it actually says here, it says your total cholesterol is 202, and it's marked as high. I don't know if you can see this or not. Let's see if I can bring it. Oops, let me get my finger out of the way. No, I guess you can't see it. Anyway, you can't see it. Anyway, so on my blood test, it shows this particular place where I got my blood test done. It put me at 202, and it has it in red, and right next to it, it has the H in red, which means high. My HDL cholesterols are great, but I look at the triglyceride. That's where because I saw that was high, so I went ahead and looked at my triglycerides. My triglycerides are at the lowest end of the range of being healthy. So what does my bioidentical hormone specialist say when she read this? She looked at it and said, "Oh, your cholesterol's fine. Don't worry about it." Well, why is that? It's because my triglycerides are at the lowest end of the low. So I'm fine. So that's how you want to read it. So that's how you want to read this. Now, what if my total cholesterol was high in the red, and what if my triglycerides were high in the red? What will I do? Well, it's pretty obvious. I will look at what fats I'm consuming too much of. Whenever we buy butcher block meat, so their red meat is pretty lean. We do buy burgers, which is lean hamburger, and we do a hamburger, and it's on the lean end, so it's not that bad. So for me to have, or Emily to have, an issue with our triglycerides being too high, most likely we won't. And the reason for that is because we probably only have red meat maybe once or twice a week. Everything we eat is really lean, organic chicken. And we do our olive oil or MCT oil. Avocado, we do a whole avocado every day, half with one meal, half with another meal. So that's another good fat. And we do nuts. And so that's and then we do I'll put olives on my salad, but that's where we're getting most of our good dietary fats from. And so I have never had a triglyceride issue in years, and neither has Emily. Okay, so again, if you're on a high-fat, low-carb meal plan and your triglycerides are a little high, first thing you want to do is you want to back off on your saturated fats. So go ahead and actually back off on all your fats, and then just raise your protein up a little bit higher. You can do that. Secondly, if you're not exercising 3 to 4 times per week, exercising will also help drop those triglycerides down too. and give yourself about 3 months of doing this, and then go back and get a blood test and see where you're at. And now I'll be launching my my online personal coaching training website here very soon. It's going to have different courses on there and different packages on there for people to choose from. The courses basically are for those that most of those courses will fit most people's budget, so you can pick the course that best fits your budget. But on my training website, you're going to get everything you need, step-by-step roadmap on everything I even talked about today. You'll have most of the training books and training videos on there. Most of your questions will be answered. Okay, guys. So guys, be looking for my website to be launched, and I hope you saw some value in this, and we'll see you guys at the next video. Have a great day.